Good morning, Metal Legend. Welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. And today we're looking at the latest album, the debut album, I should say, in fact, from Serpent of Gnosis, entitled As I Drink from the Infinite Well of Inebriation. Congrats to this band right off the bat for making an album title so long that I won't be able to fit the entire thing into the title for this video. Bravo, boys. And here I was thinking nobody would ever beat Sepultura's Mediator, Head in Hands, fucking bullshit, whatever nonsense. Blessed days. Serpents of Gnosis, or Gnosis perhaps, I'm not sure, is a new band, but featuring some old faces. Serpents of Gnosis, a death grind, death metal supergroup featuring a couple big names in the world of modern death metal. You've got bassist Max Lavelle, the current bassist for Black Dahlia Murder and a former bassist for Despised Icon. Behind the drums you also have Darren Cesca from Deeds of Flesh. And rounding out the rest of the lineup is not one, not two, but three former members of Job for a Cowboy. Namely the band's two guitarists, Al Glassman and Tony Sanacandro, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And of course you also have Johnny Davey rounding out the vocals on this record. It's been a while since we've actually heard some of these guys, because Job for a Cowboy's last album, Sun Eater, if I'm not mistaken, that thing's about 5 years old by now. And they didn't exactly do a lot of touring for that album either. I think the only show they did, come to think of it, was Modified Ghost Festival about 2-3 years ago, I think. I guess whoever owns the actual master tapes has been pretty busy as of late, considering the early records have been re-released on Metal Blade Records. But aside from that, if you're a longtime Job for a Cowboy fan, we might need to suck it up and accept the fact that this could be the closest we ever see to a full-blown reunion of that band. Unfortunate, but something we maybe need to point out right away, considering people are still aching for Sun Eater Part 2. It ain't gonna happen, guys. I think this kind of seals the deal, to be honest. Let's move on. Thankfully, we've got a new record here to move on to. In fact, these guys bring the veracity and the extremity of Job for a Cowboy with them to this project, with new influence from grindcore, new influence from technical and melodic death metal, influence from a lot of the other bands we've talked about that some of these other members have been a part of. Notably, I would say Black Dahlia Murder in the musicianship and the intensity. It's vicious, it's nasty, totally in your fucking face. It kind of even reminds me... It's nasty, vicious, totally in your face. It weirdly has the vibe of a very young, more grindcore-oriented Lamb of God, with its incredibly sharp riffing, its dynamic solos, and its disgusting fucking vocals. I forgot how fucking gross of a vocalist Johnny is. It's been a hot minute, man. And it all comes together in many exciting and satisfying ways. Take, for instance, a song like Cognivity, which has these big American metal, groove-laden riffs, combined with some of the savagery that I remember hearing on the last Pig Destroyer record, Headcage. It's bleak, harrowing, loud as fucking hell. One of these songs where I would pretty much put it on and I would have to challenge someone in the room not to fucking headbang to this, because it's just such a dirty, violent little piece. Or a song like Mask of Lucidity, which has this grind-like intensity to it, but with razor-sharp thrash metal precision and riff play in the opening. In this album's most extreme moments, I would even say that it kind of reminds me of Cattle Decapitation, particularly on songs like Paramismal Dance and Decoherence. Particularly with Johnny's vocals, man. He sounds like a fucking monster choking on his own blood. I fucking love it. It's so gruesome and fucking evil. The record very simply doesn't pull any punches from start to finish. It goes right at you with 110% effort, energy, and speed. No intros, no outros, no interludes, no stupid little symphonic bits to attempt to add atmosphere. They just go right at it, and I don't even think they care if you like it or not. Because they just keep going. They just keep fucking going. First time I listened to this album, I was on public transit too, and I struggled to sit still the entire time. I'm like sitting there in the bus seat, just like I'm fucking ready. I'm ready to fucking break something. I'm ready to fucking rage. And it's really impressive, because when you look at the actual songwriting, it's not like the band is doing anything that different, that outside the norm for brutal and extreme music. They're really playing with a lot of the tried and true formulas and techniques that we associate with these genres. But the way they bring it all together, the way they blend all of these influences and spices and ideas, that's totally all their own. It's all in the execution, man. The execution is where this album just fucking hits the nail right on the head. It just kills it. It hits everything so well that it actually leaves you hungry for more. But if I may, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a good thing on this record. I mean, inherently, yes, it's a good thing. But think with me for a second. This record is 21 minutes long, and most of the tracks range from about a minute to 2.5 minutes, with the longest being 4 minutes. And the flow from track to track is seamless. No breaks, no pauses, none of the aforementioned intros, outros, interludes. These are all inherently good things. But as a result, it moves at this lightning fast pace. And right when you're really about to be thrown into the fire, right when you're really enjoying yourself, the album just kind of stops. And you're still hungry. You still want more. Listening to it again is obviously an option, but it's not quite the same effect. Look, you don't have to lecture me on grindcore albums naturally being quite short, but even by the standards of grindcore, 21 minutes with 10 songs, that's really fucking short. It's not a deal breaker. I'd still give this thing a 4 out of 5, but it is something to note nonetheless. I would say in the future the band maybe needs to not necessarily experiment, but look elsewhere in general. They need to flesh out these songs a little bit more to beef up the album and give it a little bit more staying power. Still though, I can't deny that it kicked my ass. I can't deny that I had an insanely fun time listening to this. I can't deny how spicy and vicious and just violent and gruesome it was. It's still very impressive to me again that the band took a bunch of cliches and classic ideas and managed to make them their own without straying too much from those classic formulas and ideas. I think it's an album with that in mind that the people who really love extreme music are going to eat the fuck up. It's just so blunt and visceral. How could you not really enjoy this record if you're already in that world? And if you're not already in that world, maybe you're looking to get into more grindcore and even some death metal, I think this album's actually a pretty good meeting point. Just be prepared, because I think at the end of this you're going to be left hungry and you're going to be looking for more. And again, while listening to the record again is definitely an option, it's just not quite the same. You know, it's like ordering a steak in a restaurant and it's a good steak, but you want more, so you just order the same steak again. It's not quite the same thing, you know? You're not going to get that same experience back just because you do it all over again. Especially when you literally just did it. Does that make any sense? I hope I'm making sense here. Here's a better food analogy. This album is an appetizer when it should have been a main course. Yeah, that works. But again, a damn fine appetizer. 4 out of 5, really great record. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe to get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.